We have a new background. Hello everyone and welcome back to a new episode of Saturdays with Dad. I was going to do this video alone, but I think it'd be more fun to do it today. Three-piece bands, our favourite three-piece bands and the best album for us of that band. Does that make sense? Yeah. So I think let's just start. Let's just
see, we're doing it from a different situation here now. Basically,
because we just stacked up all these albums.
We've just had a whole load of work done in the house, and a lot of shelving has been put up. So virtually all our albums, well, not all our albums, but I would say half to 60% of them, whereas Neve has the rest of them upstairs. So we've got the box sets down here.
There's some CDs here which you can't see.
Which you can't see.
Box sets at the bottom, and then everything's just LPs.
Everything is just up there, and of course, my lovely Grateful Dead,
which you can't really see from here.
Collection. Anyway, I digress.
I think we could probably start filming our videos here more often because it's actually quite a nice backdrop.
Yeah.
The first band here.
Yes, I would probably say. I mean, this was the first ever supergroup, really, and spawning out of the London Ronnie Scott's kind of psychedelic swinging 60s. You had Ginger Baker, Jack Bruce, who was from Glasgow, and of course the one and only great Eric Clapton. And they got together and they formed a band which we all know called Cream, which is one of our favourite groups. And, you know, this is the wonderful album that's Disraeli Gears. I could have chosen loads of Cream albums, but I just sort of picked this one out. Not only because it's got wonderful songs, of Tales of Brave Ulysses, obviously, and Sunshine of Your Love, which everyone knows, but basically it's got the most cool album cover. And lamentably, the band weren't that long-lasting due to internal strife, notably between Ginger Baker and Jack Bruce, who'd been loathed and detested each other. But when they got on stage and they made this music, it was absolutely wonderful. So this is Cream, and it's Disraeli Gears.
I've got the shirt for this one.
Yeah. Oh yes, Jimi Hendrix Experience. Jimi Hendrix, of course. That's right. Noel Redding and Mitch Mitchell. There's so many records or pieces of music Jimi Hendrix did, and he also had the Band of Gypsies, which is just wonderful. But I'm again digressing. I liked Electric Ladyland for two things. First of all, it had my favourite song on it, which is the long version, not the short version, but the long version of Voodoo Child, which is simply, well, it's Jimmy. It's not just Jimmy. I mean, both Mitch and Noel were wonderful on that, and also it has some other great stuff.
It's a double album.
It's a double album. I'm sure it's also a Crosstown Traffic, but the Burning of the Midnight Lamp is just fantastic, and it's got the great cover that they did of the Bob Dylan song All Along the Watchtower, which was a single, and it's finished with this shorter, which is lovely as well. Both versions, but I prefer the long one, but even the short one, Voodoo Child Slight Return, which I love, and I think that's Voodoo Child Slight Return is probably your favourite of them.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, but obviously we couldn't possibly do a best three-piece band video without including the master. So there we go.
Going south.
Ooh, yes. We saw them.
We saw them in July a couple of years ago.
Yeah, 2 years
ago. So that
ago.
month we went to loads of concerts, I swear. We went to this one.
I think it was our last concert, wasn't it? The ZZ Top one.
Yeah, we went to this one. It was Leonard Skinner the same month, wasn't it?
Yeah, Skinner, We're Not Worthy, yeah.
I think there was another one, but I don't remember. Three-piece band. Very good band.
And for a band that's been around since the late 60s and early 70s, they're all together still. They're all still playing the same original lineup. Well, I mean, it's not too difficult when you're a three-piece band, but this album is just fantastic. And it's got LaGrange, which is unbelievable, and Jesus Left Chicago. It just sends absolute shivers down my spine. The great Texan band, ZZ Top, and we think that Tres Hombres, although the later stuff, even in the 80s, was very good, but this one is just knockout.
Okay, I will not be able to talk very much about this one because I don't know anything about it, but Dan will be able to talk about it.
So all you guys who like the same kind of music, and all know what I mean, will like Hot Tuna. They are the derivative band of Jefferson Airplane, a derivative of theirs. It's basically the two guitarists, the guitarist Jorma Kaukonen and Jack Cassidy, the bassist. They had several drummers, and occasionally Papa John Creech would be, putting his violin into effect and everything like that. He was fantastic, but basically a standard three-piece rock band. The music is just, it's American West Coast music. What is there not to like about the San Francisco sound of the 60s and 70s? This is just wonderful. They do a great set. I don't know if any of you guys have got the Last Days of the Film, or the Hot Tuna got a great set in that, but this one is a self-titled. I think it may be the first album, but I don't really know. But it's very rock, it's blues, it's just wonderful, and it cruises in the same sort of way as sort of ZZ Top. They're sort of like Northern Californian version. They're just fantastic. Jorma Kaukonen, brilliant. And if he's brilliant, Jack Cassidy, my God, what a great bassist. He's up there. To me, he doesn't actually get to the celestial heavens that Phil Lesh does. We're not worthy. But he's certainly up there in the greatest bassists of all time.
All right.
So that's the self-titled album, Hot Tuna.
Here we go. This is a rare album on vinyl to find. We found it.
Supergroup number 2. Let me go now from the 60s now
to
the modern era. And we'll talk about 3 gentlemen. And we'll talk about, first of all, we'll talk about the bass guitarist. Les Claypool is one of the finest bass guitarists there is around at the moment.
Who we will also talk about later.
Alluding to him, certainly, as Neve said later. He formed with 2 others another, what we would call generically a supergroup. So you had Trey Anastasio Fish, who is just, look, I love Fish. And also the great drummer from the Police, Stuart Copeland. This is a really out there album.
It's very good.
Oh, it's got so much stuff in there. It's just wonderful. And
it's like prog meets psychedelia.
Yeah, it's
meets
really
kind of modern rock.
Modern rock, everything.
Funk with the Primus influence, I guess.
Yeah, well, and also it's all held together so beautifully by Stuart Copeland. Absolutely wonderful. I mean, unfortunately, living in this country, we will probably never get to see this band.
I don't know. Are they even still around?
I think they're talking about doing a tour in the States.
Of course.
Of course, so we'd have to be able to get to the States to go and see them. But this album is such a mixture, and it is a platform that shows off the true brilliance of all 3 musicians, and it's a wonderful album to get. I mean, I would say possibly you won't get the vinyl.
There'll probably be a CD version,
but there is CD, and I think it's on a download like Spotify or something like that.
Yeah.
So, but if you get to listen to it, please listen to it, because it's absolutely fantastic.
And the name of the album is The Grand Pecking Order.
Yeah. So this is Oysterhead, the Grand Pecking Order.
Alright, another one that I'm not going to really be able to speak about because it's not my genre, so...
Crosby, Stills and Nash, yeah? Intrinsically a three-piece band, but I mean their music is much bigger than that, so they had hired musicians, but classically speaking a three-piece band, obviously, until Neil Young came along. And this is just pre-Deja Vu and everything, and there's just, well, I am a big fan of, I actually think that out of the three of them, Stephen Stills to me is just the most incredible songwriter, great guitarist, and also, very importantly, has a great soulful voice. And in tandem with that sort of like Manchester feel, colleagues kind of thing of Graham Nash, and of course the wonderful voice of David Crosby, who was with the Birds. And this is a great album. It's got some good stuff in it. I think it's got Sweet Judy Blue Eyes in this, and it's just it's great. It's melodic in a very good way, and very soulful. The music is the actual musicians on this are wonderful, and absolutely lovely harmonic vocals, absolutely lovely. I don't know if Love the One You're With is on this, but that's a great song as well. A lot of these songs you hear or see on this album appear on the live Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young album, Four-Way Street, which is also wonderful. But this one is the studio version, and all three of them are really fantastic. And, you know, we feel that this is an essential reason why this album has got to come in today. So this is the Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, Crosby, Stills and Nash album.
There we go.
Right, so the next album that we've got coming up is by a band who is synonymous with 70s disco dance movement.
I think just saying that people probably already guess.
Exactly know who we're talking about. Barry Morris and Robin Gibb and the Bee Gees. But this album was released before all that happened. This was in the late 60s. And it was sort of like the Bee Gees kind of answer to Sgt. Pepper's and the Beach Boys, Pet Sounds and things like that. Mm-hmm. And it's, you know, really quite progressive with some song. The opening song, actually, Odessa, is about a naval accident or during the war. I think it was during the Crimean War. And it sort of has that sort of prog feel to it, late 60s, Procol Harum kind of feel to it, but there's some great stuff on this, you know, like Lamplight, which is great. I love Melody Fair as well, Edison, Black Diamond is great. I mean, it's all good, and then right at the end of the time, you know, Seventh Seas Symphony, it's all very, very kind of prog, and I know they're a three-piece band and this, that and the other. They had to have, obviously, other musicians, and there's an orchestra there. Some really lovely, lovely songs. What can I say? It's one of my favourite albums. Very much under the radar because of what followed afterwards when it came to the band. But this is a fantastic album. And this is the Bee Gees, Odessa. Right, this one's America, but it's the greatest hits. And the reason why it's got greatest hits because, you know, like there are a couple of songs on the other album as well as on the first album that I like, and it's got the two great songs I like, which is obviously Horse with No Name, but I love Ventura Highway on this, and this is a great album, very good album, possibly not great, but there were some nice harmonies like that, a la sort of Crosby, Stills and Nash. And, you know, very, very nice. And so that's the band America.
My time to shine.
Go on. Over to you, Nick.
So this is a three-piece band called Egg. They're a Canterbury scene prog band of the 70s. This is self-titled. It's very much more classical inspired than the other Canterbury scene bands, which are more jazzy, like Soft Machine and stuff like that. But this is more classical music. I mean, they've got some, like, you know, their own
fugue in D
versions.
minor. Yes, it's a
Their own
very
versions.
Bach driven.
Their own versions of some classical stuff. I mean, they have the whole of side 2 is called Symphony Number 2.
Yeah.
So it's very much more classical than jazz inspired. But this is a good album. I think that if you like Canterbury scene stuff, then you'll like this. And if you like the more classically inspired progressive rock, then you'll also like this. So that's self-titled Egg, which I have now realised it's very hard to find this album on vinyl. So there we go. But we were talking about Les Claypool earlier. So this is my personal favourite Primus album, Sailing the Seas of Cheese. There's like an argument whether this band is prog or not, and I've come to realise that they're not really that much of a prog band, they're more of like a funk band. It's like Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Psychedelic funk, really.
It's like if Red Hot Chili Peppers were a bit more psychedelic, basically. And with the prominent bass lines and all that. But this is my favourite of the Primus stuff, as I said. Side 1 is probably my favourite, but obviously Les Claypool's one of my biggest influences when it comes to playing bass guitar, you know. My personal favourite songs of this include Here Come the Bastards, Sergeant Baker, Jerry Was a Race Car Driver is also very good. But yeah, this is very, very good.
It's sort of like modern day Zappa. There's a sort of Frank Zappa of feel to their music as well, isn't there?
Definitely to Les Claypool. And his vocal style and the way he enunciates. But I'm sure they must have worked with them at some point. But this is very good.
My personal favourite is, I love that album, but I like Frizzle Fry. I love that album.
I think that was before, possibly before that, or after, I'm not sure. Alright, moving away from prog, we're talking more about metal now, so we're going to Motorhead, Ace of Spades. It's the only Motorhead album we actually own. It's just a great album.
Yeah.
You know, it's raw energy, it's fast, it's fun, and it's just really good. You know, it makes you want to go for a really fast drive down like a motorway or something. But you know, Motorhead, where'd you go wrong? Really,
one of my favourite metal songs, obviously, the actual track "Ace of Spades."
It's 2 minutes, but it's full of
2 minutes of absolute fury and
chaos.
And I just love the lyric, and don't forget the Joker. That's just brilliant.
And yeah, I don't think any of them are actually still alive, so this is a great album. Next up, we're going to the more kind of hard rock section now. This is Nirvana. I've liked Nirvana for a few years now. They were never really a band that I would consider my favourite band, but I always did like them. We have this album, which is In Utero, and also Nevermind, which is upstairs. But I thought, because everyone always talks about Nevermind, I thought we'd talk about this one. I like this one a bit more than Nevermind. It's got more energy in it. It's more, you know, I don't know. I keep using the word raw, but it's a good word to use for this album. It's very good. It's grunge, you know. I like grunge. It killed off hair metal. But it's just great, really. And what do you think of Nirvana?
Oh, I do. I don't really know that album that much. I've heard it a couple of times.
This has got a heart-shaped box on it.
Yeah, that's a very good song. But for me, I still like Nevermind. I love that album. But you know, obviously, as we're doing the 3-piece band thing, you can't not have Nirvana in it. So
I know a lot of people think they're overrated. I think they're in the middle. I like them a lot.
I can see, exactly. I can see the
Nevermind
reason why people would think that.
Overplayed a lot. I mean, I listen to
Smells Like Teen Spirit. I love that song, but it's been so grossly
It's
overplayed.
the one that everyone knows by Nirvana. I mean, it was the song that I was introduced to by them. So going back to progressive rock again. Now, just before I start, the reason there's a price tag and a thing at the bottom here is because, well, this is actually up for sale. So if you are interested in this, you can always go to the movie store. Anyway, it's Rush 2112, the album that got me into progressive rock. I knew that Dream Theater liked them, so I decided to listen to them, and I had no idea that Dream Theater were even considered a prog band. But talking about Rush now, that first track, you know, the long epic of the actual title track 2112, it just grabs me instantly. I mean, everyone talks about that, but no one really stops to talk about side 2, which was my favourite side, really. initially. I mean, Tears, Twilight Zone, Passage to Bangkok, all really great stuff. And I mean, this isn't actually my personal favourite Rush album. My favourite is Hemispheres, but this is the best one to use when talking about Rush. 3 extremely talented musicians, especially Neil Peart. I mean, all of them I've said, but Neil Peart is probably my favourite member of Rush. But yeah,
I think that's probably my favourite album of theirs, 2112. I like it a lot. I know it's sort of a bit of a cop-out saying this, that and the other, but because everybody knows it, but it's a great album. And, you know, going back to what you're saying about what we're doing 3-piece bands, I think really if you're in a 3-piece band, you have to be on it. You have to be on it. You have to be good musicians because you can't hide. There's only 3 of you. You just cannot hide. And that's why, you know, that's why it's so Rush beautifully works, because they're all such great musicians.
They all joined forces really well. They picked the right drummer after their first drummer left, so...
Yeah.
There we go, Rush 2112. If you haven't listened to it yet, what are you doing? So the next one we have here, this is Muse. This is Black Holes and Revelations. I think this is like mid-2000s this was released. I'm very sad because Yoan got to see Muse live and I didn't. I would love to see them live. I'm sure they'd be a really good stadium rock band to see. Yeah. But I think this is their best album. It's got some of their best songs on it.
Agreed.
Starlight, Supermassive Black Hole, Soldier's Poem.
Yeah, Soldier's Poem is beautiful.
Hoodoo, and obviously that closes with
Knights of Sidonia. Oh man, I'd challenge anyone going to see Muse
to not get up.
Don't go ballistic at the end of the Knights of Sidonia. This is a great album. Like Neve, I feel it's their crowning glory. Absolute beast of an album. One of the great albums of the new millennium.
You could almost call it kind of proggy in a way.
Yeah.
Because there is some very prog aspects to Knights of Sidonia. I mean, the name of the song.
Yeah. And it's sort of like the charging horses at the beginning of it. Yeah, that's very good.
But this is great. And I think this was one of the first like rock albums that I got into. Because I was listening to, you know, other stuff before, but I saw this on the iTunes library and I decided to listen to it.
Yeah.
When we still used iTunes. But you didn't think we'd forget this one.
Well, to me, when Neve said to me, it wasn't a question of do we put Emerson, Lake and Palm on it, it was which album. And it's had this album, Tarkus, has such a sentimental value for me. It really got me into progressive rock, that and King Crimson, Procol Harum. And this album is just wonderful. It is so like almost funny in the one part, like Jeremy Bender.
It's fun songs,
some fun songs, it's some very deeply serious songs, and the wonderful whole Tarkus saga, which takes up the whole journey is just incredible. And again, I'm sorry to repeat myself, you have to be good musicians. If there's a weak link, right,
you're
it
ruined.
Doesn't work. It seriously doesn't work. And in Emerson, Lake and Palmer, like Rush, you have Keith Emerson, incredible, Greg Lake, incredible, Carl Palmer, incredible. And it's the standard of musicianship is just so good. I mean, I've already waxed lyric about this album in other videos that we've done, so there's not really that much more I can add up other than the fact that Emerson, Lake and Palmer are obviously prerequisite when it comes to 3-piece bands. And I have to say, sorry to all the people that like Brain Salad Surgery, I love it, but I love this album, Tarkus.
Very good.
Yeah.
The Police.
Outlandos d'Amour by the Police. Best album they've ever made. I saw them at Hammersmith around about 1979. It was just literally, it could have been just after the Regatta de Blanc album was released, but they played most of this first album of this.
Very good.
I'm not, as Neve knows, I'm not the most huge Police fan myself, But again, they're very good musicians. I would say that Andy Summer is just an incredible guitarist. And Sting, yeah, all right. And of course, Stuart Copeland, who's just one of the best drummers around, But to be fair to Sting, did write some good songs, and on this album, he wrote the best one. Not just so much Roxanne. I Can't Stand Losing You is one of the great late 70s kind of new wave songs. It's just fantastic. So Lonely and things like that. It's really, really introvert album, and it's just a great first album. And I would put this in any sort of top 100 of my albums. So this is basically The Police, Outland, Ostamont.
That is the end of the video. Let us know your favourite three-piece bands and which albums of those bands that you like. And also let us know if we've missed out on anything. I think we've covered most of the bands.
Of the ones we like, but I mean, we don't have any taste. I mean, it's an honourable mention here.
Oh, we can do some
taste live at the Isle of Wight Festival. Rory Gallagher. Again, I'm sorry, I've got a load of Rory Gallagher, but not any Taste albums, unfortunately. So I give them an honourable mention because, man, that guy could play the guitar.
So, there we go. Monday is another Prog Mondays video, as you know, and, we'll be back next week, if not at some point during the week.
Excellent.
With possible unboxings. I mean, I don't think we have anything to unbox at the moment. See you guys soon. Bye.
Bye. Have a great week. Bye.